Welcome to the first ever edition of Penn State Athletics Update, brought to you by Penn State Sports Night. I'm Nolan Collery, joined alongside Logan Bourandas. Our reporters here at Penn State Sports Night have been out covering a number of different Penn State athletic events across campus all week and are here tonight to give you the update you've been needing.
That's right, Nolan. Penn State Athletics Update is your one-stop shop to hear about all your favorite Penn State sports teams. To start off the night, we go to our Sports Night Wrestling beat reporter, Brendan Conroy. Brendan, it was an exciting weekend at the BJC against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Thanks, Logan. Penn State Wrestling is coming off two stellar home matches in the beloved Bryce Jordan Center against top Big Ten teams these past 2 weeks. Penn State's continued success allowed them to keep their #1 overall ranking in college wrestling. Their first BJC match took place against the top 5 ranked Michigan Wolverines. In the first BJC duel of the season, Penn State topped Michigan by a score of 30-8 and were carried by top performances from the likes of Roman Bravo Young, Bo Bartlett, and star freshman Levi Haynes. Consistently dominant veterans Carter Starachi and Max Dean showed out as well as they collected a win in their respective matches. The most recent match welcomed the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes and was a little closer than their previous Big Ten matchup. Take a look. Penn State Wrestling hosted Iowa in a matchup between the #1 and #2 ranked college wrestling teams this past weekend at their BJC duel and showed fans why they are the best ranked team in the country. Roman Bravo Young had a standout performance per usual as he was able to pin his #17 ranked opponent towards the end of the match. Young's victory sparked the noise in the BJC and it did not quiet down from there. Following Bravo Young's performance, Bo Bartlett found himself in some trouble as he fought a long and hard battle against the #2 ranked Real Woods. Bartlett did not leave the mat victorious, but gave it all in the BJC. As intermission took place, a special surprise was in store for the fans in attendance as Penn State football was honored along with the Rose Bowl trophy on the center of the mat before continuing the rest of the duel. Penn State's coach James Franklin was there to join his team as he sat and watched the duel and brought the energy with the fans. Following the intermission, junior Carter Starachi showed up and showed out as he was able to secure himself a victory over the #15 ranked Nelson Brands in his match. Veteran and senior Max Dean came out attacking as not only did he get the victory over #7 ranked Jacob Werner, but was a big reason that the crowd of the Bryce Jordan Center erupted. Dean's efforts of bringing the fans to their feet is what allowed for the Nittany Lions to close out on top. They would finish with a final score of 23-14 in last weekend's BJC duel. The duel between the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes was helped a lot by the likes of Roman Bravo Young, who had a super great performance, especially towards the end in the third round of his match where he fought back and was able to get the win for his team, as well as Max Dean, who really caught the attention of every single person in the BJC as his matchup was really crucial to turning the tide and putting the win away for the Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions will travel to Columbus, Ohio for their 5th straight Big Ten matchup as they look to take on their rival Ohio State Buckeyes on the road this Friday at 7 p.m. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Brendan. It was definitely a big win for the Nittany Lions in doing so against a dominant Iowa team.
100%. You have to mention, sellout crowd, record numbers in the BJC. Atmosphere was electric. Great match for sure. Now we go to our men's basketball reporters, Justin Chevalella and Ethan Ellis, who were in the Bryce Jordan Center on Sunday for the Nittany Lions matchup against the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, thanks, guys. Penn State handled Michigan with relative ease on Sunday afternoon at the Bryce Jordan Center. It was an 83-61 victory in front of the biggest crowd of the season for the annual Thon game. Let's take a look at how it happened.
Coming off a 20-point loss to Rutgers on Tuesday night in Piscataway, New Jersey, head coach Micah Shrewsbury challenged his Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions responded to that challenge when they returned home on Sunday to the Bryce Jordan Center for their annual Thon game.
It's what families do. They get on each other, they challenge each other, they fight, they do what they need to do, but they're still family. Still family, and there was nobody else that I'm rolling with but these guys.
Shrewsbury rolled with new starters in Michael Henn and Caleb Dorsey, and those starters set the tone as Penn State rolled over Michigan. After the Wolverines went ahead 6-4 on a Jet Howard three-pointer, the Nittany Lions roared back, never looked back, and never gave the lead back. Jalen Pickett scored 7 points in a row to put the Nittany Lions ahead 11-6. Those were 7 of Pickett's 25 points in the victory.
We came out this game really focused on, setting screens, being physical, boxing out, and, making people play our game. So Coach Shrewsbury is a great motivator. great coach, and we're just going to keep getting better.
Penn State and Michigan went back and forth up until Jet Howard buried another three-pointer, this time to put the Wolverines within one at 31-30. Howard was one of the Wolverines' lone bright spots, scoring 21 points. However, he could not help his team avoid the 18-0 run that came after his three. Pickett, Andrew Funk, and Seth Lundy combined for 66 points and 8 of the Nittany Lions' three-pointers, including many big shots during that run. Defensively, it was Hen doing everything he could do to hold Michigan's big man Hunter Dickinson to just 6 points.
I mean, we just, as I said earlier, we just came together with our defense today. There was a lot of emphasis defensively these last couple of days. Sure, calling us soft in the media, whatever it was. We tightened some stuff up today.
The Nittany Lions pulled ahead 49-32 going into halftime, and it was more of the same after the break. The blue and white extended its lead to 32 points midway through the second, and Penn State pulled off the 22-point victory, 83-61. The Nittany Lions travel to West Lafayette to face number 1 Purdue on Wednesday.
Penn State, with their biggest win ever over Michigan, led by 32 points at one point. So, Justin, who are some players that you were looking at in this game?
Well, there's a big trio at Penn State, and it's Seth Lundy, it's Andrew Funk, and it's Jalen Pickett. Those three have been amazing all season for the Nittany Lions, but on Sunday afternoon, they took it to the next level. Starting with Jalen Pickett, goes 6 of 6 from the field to start the game. Andrew Funk then got into a rhythm from 3. This is after a few weeks ago, he was in a shooting funk. Well, he's out of that now, and he's really leading the Nittany Lion offense, especially from beyond that three-point line where they knocked down 13 threes on Sunday afternoon. Not their most of the season, but pretty close. And then you go to Seth Lundy, putting up 22 points in the victory. He's been doing that all season. There's a reason that he was one of the fastest Nittany Lions to cross the 1,000-point plateau in program history. He did that earlier in the year, and he had another great performance Sunday afternoon for an offense. Really was clicking on all cylinders, Ethan.
And then Michigan's offense averages 73 points per game. How did Penn State's defense shut them down?
Well, it started with a new starter in the starting lineup, and that's Michael Hen. Hen had the toughest matchup of the day against the 7-1 Hunter Dickinson of Michigan. The big man is one of the best centers in all of college basketball, and Michael Hen, who's seen his playing time go back and forth. Sometimes he gets a good amount, sometimes he's in for 2 minutes, sometimes he doesn't even play. Well, he started, sure, he lost the opening tip. That's kind of hard when there's that big of a height advantage, but Hunter Dickinson was held to 6 points. Michael Hen, Keba Jai, another reason for that, and Cam Winter. Penn State played with more physicality. They played bigger than they actually were. A big reason for that was Michael Hen. But then you look at some of the other guys, they were shutting down Michigan's passing lanes. They didn't force a lot of turnovers, only 9 in the game. But what they were doing was getting to the ball fast, quick, active feet and hands on defense, leading to some tip balls out of bounds. And I think all around Penn State had to be happy with the way they were able to handle not only Hunter Dickinson, but Jet Howard, who came back. Sure, he put up the most amount of points for Michigan, but at the same time, they wore him down and he was exhausted. It was his first game coming back from injury too, but Penn State, they certainly game planned well on defense.
Yeah, and that was an aggressive defense that Penn State came out with. But looking ahead, Penn State travels to Indiana to take on the Purdue Boilermakers, ranked number 1 in the nation. How do they take this momentum and apply it to this upcoming game?
Well, Ethan, that's pretty easy. You and I, we accidentally matched today. That wasn't planned. But Penn State needs to go into West Lafayette with the plan of matching that same performance that they did against Michigan this past Sunday. They've got another tough matchup. Arguably the best center in college basketball in Zach Edey, the big man for Purdue. He took over the last time Purdue and Penn State played. Well, Penn State, maybe they should roll with Michael Hen in the starting lineup again because like we said earlier, he played bigger than he actually is. And then just doing the exact same thing. Penn State, they got a few lucky shots. That's one of them. Seth Lundy watching his shot go in. It bounced off the rim twice before going in. They got a few lucky shots. You can't expect those against Purdue, but what you can expect is that tough, gritty, not pretty mentality that the Nittany Lions always go with.
Yeah, Zach Edey's going to be huge in getting shut down. Put up 30 points against Penn State in the Palester game, so he's going to be big in this game coming up. With their huge win over Michigan, the Nittany Lions now travel to Indiana, where they face an uphill battle in the Purdue Boilermakers. Will Jalen Pickett and Seth Lundy keep up their momentum? Will PSU force an upset in West Lafayette? Only time will tell. Back to Logan and Nolan.
Thanks, guys. Definitely agree with the point. Penn State is going to have to match Purdue for a chance of that match. However, I can't imagine their point on matching co-hosts. That is awkward and frankly embarrassing.
Yeah, definitely couldn't imagine matching with a co-host. But now moving on to the ice. The women's ice hockey team hosted the Lindenwood Lions over the weekend for a 2-game series. Josh Bartosik and Kaylee Tallman, what a way to wrap up the Nittany Lions' last home series at the Pegula Ice Arena.
Thanks, Logan. Josh, what a weekend it was for the Nittany Lions. They swept Lindenwood for the second time this season in their final home series of the regular season. The last time these two teams faced off, Penn State won a nail-biter 4-3 in overtime and then followed that with a 7-0 dominant performance. This time came a little bit easier for the Nittany Lions with a 5-1 win in their first game, followed by a 6-3 closer matchup. What did you think of the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, it may have seemed, with ease. Game 1 definitely was, like you mentioned, 5-1. But Game 2 for the Nittany Lions, they found themselves down in a 2-0 hole very early. A lot of people, myself included, may have been like, oh, this might be it. It's a team that, when they are faced with adversity, always seems to, crumble under pressure. But they didn't. They stormed back, scored 6 straight goals, ended up winning 6-3. And we normally don't see that from a Jeff Campersall squad, which maybe shows a nice bright spot for the future of this program and this team currently.
I totally agree with you, and I think something that was huge this weekend for the Nittany Lions was the power play. They went 2 for 2 in their first game on the power play and 1 for 2 in that second game, and that hugely contributed to the overall win. What else do you think contributed to their success this weekend?
Yeah, the special teams have been incredible for these Nittany Lions so far, not just the power play, this penalty kill as well. Got a couple shorthanded goals a couple weeks ago against RIT, but I think the crowd also played a huge factor this past weekend. That a top 10 attendance record for Saturday's game. Over 1,500 people were in attendance. I think you could feel that after they got that first goal to make it 2-1, the fans were begging for that next one. And when they finally pied, the arena erupted, and it really, really helped those Nittany Lions put the fans on their back and take their team to victory.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And something that helped bring all those fans in, I think, was senior night on Saturday. That was huge, and there are a lot of seniors on this Nittany Lions team, one of which being Ellery Mackay, who had a huge weekend for the Nittany Lions. She had 6 points across both games, 3 in each. The first one, she had a goal and 2 assists, followed by 2 goals and 1 assist. Who else stuck out to you this weekend?
Yeah, Mackay was fantastic this weekend, but someone that's really been under the radar seemingly all season long is Olivia Wallin. Had a 3-point weekend this past series and is third on the team in points with 26. Obviously, she's going to be overshadowed by people like Kiara Zanin and Tessa Janicki, who are just dominating the entire CHA right now. But she's been really, really solid, provides some depth scoring wherever Jeff Campbell likes to put her, either on that second or third line, slotting really anywhere. And you mentioned senior night. Courtney Correa, the other transfer, has also been steadily very good as well. She's fourth on the team in points with 23. So when you have all that depth scoring coming into playoff time, which is right around the corner, you can't ask for a better performance from those Nittany Lions.
Absolutely, and the Nittany Lions are heading into their second to last series against Syracuse next weekend, followed by their final one against RIT. They're looking to maybe host the CHA tournament, and it would take a lot for that not to be the case. What do they have to do to ensure that they will host that tournament and then maybe do well in the NCAA tournament?
Well, it's simple, really. It's keeping your foot on the gas. Last year around this time, this was a Penn State team that tied RIT, similar like they did a couple weeks ago, and then went into that CHA tournament, lost in the semifinal matchup in Mercier's because they ended up losing earlier in the year to Syracuse to miss out on hosting, and they missed out on a chance to participate in the NCAA tournament and the Frozen Four, which was hosted at University Park at Pegula. So they really missed out. They're looking for vengeance this year. Got to stay attacked, stay focused, because this is a Syracuse team that, although Penn State beat them very handily earlier, knows how to score. They have Penn State's number, and if Penn State can host that CHA tournament, oh man, Pegula Ice Arena is going to be rocking in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
All right, Nolan and Logan, back to you guys.
Women's hockey will travel to Syracuse next weekend for a 2-game slate and look to sweep the Orange, not just in that series, but in their whole season matchup. Their season will conclude against RIT in 2 weeks, and we wish the ladies the best of luck.
Continuing on the ice, we have Anthony Descher here to discuss the men's ice hockey team's most recent matches.
I had the privilege going to Pegula Ice Arena to watch Penn State face off against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. With an electric atmosphere, the Nittany Lions took to the ice in an unforgettable experience. Here is my package from the game.
I'm Anthony Desher with Penn State Sports Night here at Pagula Ice Arena, where the Nittany Lions look to rebound from their loss last night to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's the highly anticipated Wear White game, and the jerseys they're wearing tonight sure do look nice. They're going to be auctioning the jerseys off later, and all the proceeds will go to charity. The atmosphere here, it's electric. I heard the line for the student section was all the way around the building, so good luck getting in. And the rally tells, they are printed off with the third alternate jerseys. They look nice. It's going to be a great night, it's going to be a great game, and we'll see if Penn State can bounce back tonight. The ranked 6 Nittany Lions and unranked Fighting Irish faced off yet again on Saturday. Penn State started the scoring on Friday, but the scenario flipped when Notre Dame's Trevor Janicki started things off, scoring on the power play at 14:32 in the first period. Penn State then had a few chances to even things up shortly after, but Notre Dame's strong defensive game kept the Nittany Lions off the board. A late power play chance for Penn State was killed off, and that's when things started to get a little chippy. The Fighting Irish survived a late push by Penn State to end the first period, with Penn State leading the shot category 15-12, but the Irish leading where it matters 1-0 going into the first intermission. In the second period, Penn State knotted the game up 1-1 early with some little help from Simon Mack. But halfway through the period, Notre Dame found the back of the net to reclaim the lead 2-1. But late in the second period, Penn State cashed in on a 2-on-1 with a goal by Connor McEachran to send the teams to their locker room evened up 2-2. In the third period, Christian Sarlo beat Brian Bischel with 5:27 to go in the third period, putting the Nittany Lions up 3-2. It was then announced that a new fan attendance record was beaten with 6,566 fans when the previous record was beaten just the night before. Luckily, Sarlo's goal was enough for Penn State to hold on to the win, and a 3-2 final was the result. Here is what Coach Guy Godowski had to say about the team.
To see, I think we've done a pretty good job of I think someone told me, or maybe one of you told me about the stats of first goal. A number of times we score first, and obviously we've been a pretty good team playing ahead, but it's nice to see coming back from behind. I think it's great. I think that's what sort of gives the team a little more confidence in the locker room, so very nice to see.
I'm Anthony Desher with Penn State Sports Night, signing off.
Just a couple weeks ago, Penn State faced off against Notre Dame in a hard-fought series. Even with the split, there's a lot to take away from the contests. I'm Anthony Desher, joined alongside Kendall Skalicki and Jacob Cheris. Kendall, I'll start with you. What did you take away from that Wear White games?
Well, starting with the obvious, the atmosphere was huge for both these games, and Pagula broke their attendance record back-to-back nights, which is a big deal for this program. And then starting with the loss Friday night, Notre Dame's goalie Ryan Bischel was unstoppable. He led in 1 goal on 53 shots. Penn State led in shots on goal 53-24. But again, there was too much time spent in the penalty box. They did not capitalize on rebounds and man-up opportunities, which has been a reoccurring issue all season. And as Coach said, they played pretty well this game. It just didn't go their way. And they played pretty similar Saturday night. And I think they had a much stronger mentality going to the goal and getting those second and third chances. And they came back from behind. And luckily, Christian Sarlo's goal was enough to hold the lead to split the series that weekend.
Yeah, Penn State got basically stonewalled in game 1, but they were able to bounce back with that very back and forth game with that electric atmosphere. And you mentioned breaking the attendance record 2 nights in a row. What a fantastic achievement. But then they went on the road and they played a Michigan Wolverines squad who, on the road, Penn State doesn't really play well against them. So, Jacob, what really went wrong there?
Well, 2 things went wrong, Anthony. Defensive zone structure started to collapse. Penn State has gotten away from its defensive identity that made them so successful in the first half of the season, and that's why they beat Michigan back in November. And another issue was penalties. They took 5 penalties in total, and they allowed 2 power play goals combined in both games, costly ones, against a Michigan team that has a power play of 24%, which was 16th nationally going into the series. So those were the 2 things that really, really stuck out to me, and Penn State needs to get those things sorted out heading into Ohio State.
Yeah, they really just got to burn the tape, move on, and now as we talk about this tough road series yet again against Ohio State and the Buckeyes, Jakub Dobesh, a phenomenal goaltender. Kendall, what does Penn State need to do to get back on track in this series?
So Ohio State's going to be coming off of a bye week, so they're going to be fresh and ready to play. Obviously, Penn State is coming off of these 2 brutal losses against Michigan. And I think the biggest thing for them is going to be their mental toughness. They can't be giving away these penalties, and also they have to figure out how to capitalize on their power plays. You can't compete with teams like Ohio State and Michigan on the road and not be able to do anything with those opportunities. And Ohio State is 9-2 at home, so I think it's going to be a really competitive series, and it's not going to be easy. And Soulier cannot have a weekend like he had last weekend if they want to compete with this team.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I said before, for Penn State, Ohio State right now, they're scoring from December 2nd all the way to now. They have scored 4.8 goals per game, which is 4th nationally and the best in the Big Ten right now. So like I said, Penn State, if they get back to that defensive identity that made them so successful against Michigan in November, where they held them to about 17 shots, and Adam Fantilli, one of the nation's leading scorers, had 0 of those shots, they will be in good shape the rest of the way, and they also have to get healthy because they are battling some injuries right now.
Penn State really needs to find that defensive style of game that made them so good early on in the season. As the season winds down, the games are only getting more important each week. Will Penn State find its footing and respond? I guess all we can do is wait and see. Here's a quick look at the upcoming schedule we will cover.
It's definitely an exciting schedule to look forward to these next couple weeks.
For sure. Well, now it's time to take a look at the Nittany Lions' top plays from the month of January. Great highlights. Excited to see some more all year.
Yeah, it should be definitely something to look forward to for the rest of the year. But that's going to be it for the first ever episode of Penn State Athletics Update. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks for our next show. For Nolan, Collery, and our entire team here at Penn State Sports Night, I'm Logan Bourandas. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.